Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really taking a plunge into a sector that's fundamentally reshaping how cars get made and moved around. We're talking about the global automotive industry AGV market. AGV, that's automated guided vehicles, kind of the unsung heroes of the modern factory floor. We've got a fantastic source for this deep dive today. It's a really comprehensive market outlook report from Cognitive Market Research. In this report, it gives us a fascinating snapshot. We're looking at global and country-level data from 2021, estimates for 2025, and then projections right out to 2033. So our mission really is to quickly unpack the key trends, the crucial numbers, just to get a handle on how the smart automation isn't just, growing, but actually transforming the whole automotive supply chain.
Exactly. And this isn't just about dry statistics. Understanding where this AGV market is heading, those regional shifts, well, it's absolutely crucial if you're involved in or even just curious about the future of industry. Whether you're an investor looking for the next big thing, maybe an operations manager seeking efficiency, or honestly, just someone fascinated by how tech is changing everything. These numbers, they paint a picture. It's about huge gains in efficiency, constant innovation, and really a fundamental reshaping of manufacturing and logistics globally.
Okay, so let's start with that big picture then, the global overview. Because the numbers, well, they're pretty striking. The automotive AGV market, get this, valued at about $2.46 billion back in 2021, and listen to how it ramps up. Expected to hit $3.34 billion by 2025. And then the projection is it nearly doubles again, climbing to a staggering $6.18 billion by 2033.
Wow.
Yeah, that translates to a really robust global compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of almost 8%, specifically 7.981% between 2025 and 2033.
What's truly fascinating there is what that growth actually indicates. That consistent, high, single-digit global growth. It's not just gradual adoption. It really signifies a decisive, widespread commitment from the auto industry worldwide to fully integrate automation. It points to this urgent, ongoing need to optimize these incredibly complex supply chains, right? To dramatically increase production efficiency, accelerate those smart factory initiatives. It's a clear signal. AGVs, they've moved way beyond being some niche solution. They're core now. Indispensable to modern automotive operations. Like you said, it's not just adding robots, it's rethinking how entire factories function.
That makes perfect sense. So, okay, if that's the global commitment, what happens when we zoom in? Look at the regions, because this is where it gets really interesting. Different parts of the world aren't just adopting AGVs, they're doing it at wildly different speeds and scales. It makes you wonder, what are the unique factors? What's pushing some areas to surge ahead while, others just keep a steadier pace?
Indeed. And leading that charge, no question, is Asia Pacific. This region boasts the highest regional CAGR. We're talking a significant 8.627%. Its market values are set to more than double, growing from, about $909 million in 2021, all the way up to nearly $2.5 billion by 2033. It's a testament to just rapid industrial expansion.
And within APAC, China's sheer scale is obvious, moving from nearly $290 million in 2021 to almost $800 million by 2033. That's an 8.817% CAGR. But here's something that really jumps out, a real aha moment for me. India. Okay, it's starting from a smaller base, yes, but India is showing just remarkable growth. It has the highest overall CAGR across all regions, an astounding 9.724%. It's projected to triple its market, from about $99 million in 2021 to over $300 million by 2033. What on earth drives that kind of explosive trajectory in India?
That's a fantastic point. And India's explosive growth, it isn't just a number, right? It suggests this powerful mix of factors. You're seeing rapid industrialization, significant government pushes for domestic manufacturing, like Make in India, and a real strategic embrace of newer tech. It feels like India might be leapfrogging some older methods, investing directly into AGVs for its burgeoning automotive sector. It suggests a very proactive, forward-looking approach, maybe unique to its current development stage. Elsewhere in APAC, Japan's also a major player, growing from roughly $198 million to nearly $488 million by 2033. And Taiwan, smaller market but still strong, doubling from about $49 million to $107 million. Plus, you've got strong contributions coming from South Korea, Australia, and key markets in Southeast Asia. That whole group forecasted over $254 million by 2033. Oh, and Singapore specifically projected over $56 million. So broad strength there.
Okay, so from those Asian giants and high flyers, let's pivot. Let's look at South America. Now, this is a region that, maybe gets overlooked sometimes in global automation trends, but it's quietly building some pretty significant momentum with AGVs. Its overall market is projected to hit nearly $440 million by 2033. That's up from $170 million in 2021. So a solid CAGR there too, 8.253%.
Right. And Brazil, naturally, is leading the charge down there. It's projected to hit a market value over $156 million by 2033, up from $61 million back in 2021. That's an 8.772% CAGR. It indicates Brazil's strong industrial base is really adopting automation to, well, stay competitive.
And then right next door, Argentina is showing really impressive growth. It's set to nearly triple its market, from just under $25 million in 2021 to almost $70 million by 2033. And its CAGR is notable too, 9.281%. That's another real standout number. What does Argentina's high growth tell us? How are smaller economies tackling this tech?
Yeah, Argentina's growth, alongside Brazil's lead, it really highlights a pattern, doesn't it? You see emerging industrial economies recognizing this direct link between automation, efficiency, and just staying competitive globally. For these maybe smaller economies, investing in AGVs can unlock really significant productivity gains that maybe weren't accessible before. It lets them scale up production, improve logistics, without necessarily that huge expansion in physical footprint or, workforce size. And we also see solid figures from Colombia, Peru, Chile. The rest of South America together is expected over $46 million. So it's broad-based adoption, though maybe varied across the continent.
Okay, moving on, transitioning to the Middle East, another fascinating region showing some real emerging potential. Its market is on track to more than double, from roughly $100 million in 2021 up to over $260 million by 2033. That's with a healthy 8.214% CAGR.
And Saudi Arabia takes the lead there, growing from about $28 million to over $75 million by 2033, which, aligns perfectly with their broader Vision 2030 goal for industrial diversification, smart city projects, things like that.
Right, but look at the UAE. It's really spotlighting itself here. It shows the fastest growth in the entire region. A remarkable 9.152% CAGR, rising from under $12 million in 2021 to over $33 million by 2033. That's a significant jump for a relatively smaller nation. What's driving that rapid adoption there?
Well, the UAE's accelerated growth, it's likely tied to its very strategic investments, think logistics hubs, smart infrastructure. And there's a big push for advanced manufacturing as part of diversifying away from oil, right? They're clearly positioning themselves as a regional leader in adopting these cutting-edge technologies. AGVs fit right into that strategy. And we also see, substantial gains in Turkey, Qatar, Egypt. The rest of the Middle East projected to reach over $25 million, too.
Okay, now let's pivot to the more, let's say, established markets.
Right.
Still showing very steady, robust growth, which kind of demonstrates the ongoing importance of AGVs even in mature industrial settings, North America, for instance. Projected to nearly double its market from about $690 million in 2021 to over $1.6 billion by 2033. That reflects a solid CTGR of 7.354%.
And the United States, no surprise, firmly leads North America. Its revenue is growing from roughly $575 million in 21 to over $1.3 billion by 2033. That's a 7.235% CAGR. Now, maybe it's not quite as explosive as some emerging markets we discussed, but that steady growth in the U.S., it often points to widespread upgrades, automation within existing mature facilities, which, speaks to a different kind of investment cycle compared to building entirely new factories from scratch.
That's a great distinction, yeah. Canada is also a strong contributor, though. Set to more than double its market, about $61 million in 2021 to nearly $159 million by 2033. That's an impressive 8.233% CAGR up there. And Mexico's right there, too, reaching over $130 million by 2033, up from about $54 million, a 7.538% CAGR. It really seems like consistent growth is the theme across North America.
Absolutely. Now, moving across the Atlantic, Europe's AGV market stands strong, projected to nearly double its value as well, from about $523 million in 2021 to over $1.24 billion by 2033. That's with a 7.52% CAGR.
And Germany remains the powerhouse in Europe, right? Set to reach almost $300 million by 2033, up from about $117 million. That's an 8.155% CAGR. What makes Germany so consistently strong here?
Well, Germany's leadership in Europe, it's really rooted in its long-standing reputation, isn't it? Advanced manufacturing, that deep commitment to Industry 4.0 initiatives, they're basically pioneers in smart factory concepts, and AGVs are just a natural fit for their highly automated, highly efficient production lines. The UK, while maybe not quite as large, is also projected to more than double its market, hitting over $200 million by 2033. France, its CAGR is 6.47%, so more steady than explosive, but still representing really consistent, robust adoption. over $134 million projected there. And Italy is strong too, set to reach nearly $122 million. Plus, you've got solid contributions from markets like Sweden, Denmark, the Netherlands, Norway, Belgium, Luxembourg, Russia, Spain, many of those posting CAGRs between, say, 6% and 7.8%. It indicates this broad-based methodical integration of AGVs across the continent's, diverse automotive ecosystem.
Okay, and finally, let's just briefly touch on Africa. It's starting from a smaller base, yes, around $64 million in 2021, but its AGV market is forecasted to grow pretty consistently to over $164 million by 2033. That reflects a CAGR of 7.416%.
And South Africa leads the continent there, growing from about $24.86 million to over $68 million by 2033. This consistent growth, it suggests that even in developing economies that push for efficiency, for automation, it's a clear priority. It's really paving the way for future industrialization.
Right. And Nigeria, Egypt, and the rest of Africa collectively, they're contributing significantly to this growth too, all seeing solid CAGRs, between about 6.7% and 8.6%. It really paints a picture of truly global spread, doesn't it? So, okay, let's wrap this up. What does this all mean for you? The overarching narrative seems abundantly clear. The global automotive AGV market isn't just, growing steadily. It's undergoing this significant continent-spanning transformation, all driven by automation. We're talking about a market projected to hit over $6.1 billion by 2033. I mean, that's a massive leap. And those standout growth rates we saw, like India's incredible 9.7% or the UAE's rapid climb in its region, they showed this isn't just some slow, steady thing. It's dynamic. It's rapidly evolving. New leaders are emerging.
Yeah, and this widespread adoption, it raises a really important question for us, for you to consider. How will this accelerating integration of AGVs reshape not just, individual factory floors, but global logistics networks, the whole chain? What's it going to mean for workforce development in manufacturing, skills needed? And how will it inspire that next wave of smart factory tech, things that go beyond just moving parts around? This really signals a much broader industrial shift, one that's going to impact, well, many aspects of our lives, really.
Absolutely. This deep dive into the source material, it really paints a vivid picture, doesn't it? A future where these automated guided vehicles aren't just common, they're essential. We hope you feel well-informed after this and hopefully curious for what comes next in this really exciting and continuously evolving space.
Welcome back to another deep dive. Today, we're getting into something that's, well, fundamentally changing manufacturing floors. Automated guided vehicles, AGVs, specifically their impact in the automotive world. Think silent, tireless robots moving things around. It's really reshaping the whole factory dance. And for this dive, we're leaning on some exclusive insights from cognitive market research. So you're getting the latest intelligence, our mission, to track how these AGVs are evolving, what's really pushing car makers to adopt them, the roadblocks they're hitting, and what the future looks like. It's pretty smart stuff. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, it really is fascinating. And it's more than just a simple upgrade, It's like a complete rethink of how materials move, how flexible production can be, even how fast a car gets from a design sketch into your driveway. The change on the factory floor is, well, it's constantly surprising, even if you follow the industry closely.
Right. When you think cars, you picture these huge lines, lots of people. So how are AGVs fitting in? Or maybe how are they actually reshaping this industry that seems so based on, well, traditional labor? What's really driving this aggressive push towards AGVs from the car manufacturers?
Well, it goes beyond just wanting automation. We're seeing the big car makers, the OEMs, setting some really ambitious targets, like cutting production cycle times by maybe 25% or slashing defect rates by a third. AGVs are becoming indispensable for hitting those kinds of numbers. It's less about small improvements and more about gaining this agility, this scale that, frankly, manual processes just can't keep up with anymore. Especially with global competition, they really boost efficiency, cut down on human error, optimize how materials are handled. You get that precision and speed you absolutely need in car making.
Those efficiency numbers are definitely attention-grabbing. But what about the people side of things? Does this kind of automation mean fewer jobs, or are we seeing a shift in the kind of workforce needed?
That's a really important question, yeah. And look, it's not just about replacing tasks humans do. It's also tackling a very real issue, the global labor shortage. Particularly in those logistics and warehousing roles within factories. You combine that with labor costs going up in many developed nations, and suddenly AGVs look like a very cost-effective option. Their operating costs are predictable, and crucially, You're less dependent on finding manual labor for certain tasks. So companies can actually move people to more complex, higher value work. It fosters a more stable strategic workforce. It's a shift, not just elimination.
Okay, so it's tackling a practical, immediate problem too. Who does the moving when people are scarce or too expensive?
Hmm.
Sounds like AGVs are filling a real gap there. And what about the tech itself? How are the advancements in AGV technology pushing this along?
Oh, the tech is moving incredibly fast. It's way beyond just following magnetic tape on the floor now. We're past simple line following. Think AGVs that can actively see their surroundings using vision-guided systems. Kind of like GPS with eyes, but for the factory. Or they use LiDAR, bouncing light pulses to map routes super accurately and spot obstacles. And then there's AI-based path planning. This means they can dynamically figure out new routes if something's blocking the way or optimize the flow of traffic, all in real time, making decisions on their own. But what's really exciting is how their value just explodes when they're linked into Industry 4.0 systems, the whole smart factory idea. AGVs aren't just dumb movers anymore. They're sharing data constantly with other robots, machines, the main production system. That unlocks amazing levels of automation and fine-tuning.
That picture of the super intelligent factory sounds amazing, almost too good to be true sometimes. Let's get real though. What are the hurdles? Where are companies hitting snags when they try to bring in these advanced AGV systems?
Yeah, the biggest one, honestly, is the upfront cost, the initial capital investment. Buying the AGVs themselves, the software, maybe upgrading the factory floor, the network. It all adds up fast. I mean, a single advanced AGV could be over $100,000. A whole fleet, you're talking millions. That's a huge barrier, especially for smaller or medium-sized companies, maybe in emerging economies where capital isn't as easy to come by. And the payback, the ROI, might take years.
Huh.
So some companies get hesitant. They need a really solid business case first.
Right. It's not like just buying a new tool. It's more like renovating the whole workshop, potentially with unexpected costs popping up. And beyond just the money, how tricky is it to actually get these things working with everything else already in the factory?
That's the next big challenge, absolutely. The complexity of integration. A lot of older automotive manufacturing systems, they just weren't built with AGVs in mind. So you often need pretty extensive modifications to get everything talking to each other smoothly. It's not plug and play. It takes serious time, specialized technical skills. Sometimes companies need to hire new people or retrain existing ones, and a dedicated budget just for that integration piece. It definitely makes the learning curve, the adoption curve, steeper and longer than maybe companies first think.
Sounds like a lot of potential friction points there. Are there also worries about safety? Or, things breaking down and stopping production, especially when you're trying to crank out cars really fast?
Absolutely. Safety is paramount, and AGVs are designed with lots of sensors and safety protocols. But unexpected things can still happen. You might get subtle software glitches or maybe communication dropouts between AGVs or with the central system. Even just an unexpected pallet left in an aisle could cause issues, and that can lead to collisions or maybe more often just cause the system to halt operations until it's sorted out. In these high-speed, just-in-time car factories, even a short stoppage can cause massive, costly delays down the line. Managing that risk, ensuring uptime, it's a constant focus.
Okay, so it's a real balancing act. Big potential, but serious challenges too. But despite those hurdles, things are moving forward. What are the key trends making AGVs look like a good bet for the future in automotive? What's helping overcome these challenges?
Well, one really noticeable trend is the move towards modular and flexible AGV systems. Manufacturers don't just want one type of AGV for one specific task anymore. They want systems that can adapt easily, adapt to different kinds of loads, different factory layouts, different production lines, maybe changing week to week. This is super important with electric vehicles coming on strong. They have different parts, different assembly needs, and also with the trend towards more customized cars. You need manufacturing that can switch gears quickly. Adaptability is key.
Makes sense. Future-proofing requires flexibility. What about making them smarter? Are they getting integrated even more deeply into that whole smart factory concept?
Oh, definitely. The integration with the Internet of Things, IoT, and artificial intelligence, AI, is getting much deeper. These smarter systems allow for things like predictive maintenance. The AGV can literally signal, hey, I think my battery needs checking soon, before it fails. You also get much better real-time fleet optimization, making sure the right AGV is in the right place at the right time, and more sophisticated autonomous decision-making, like rerouting automatically if sensors elsewhere detect a sudden traffic jam on the factory floor. Another cool trend is using digital twins and simulation tools. Basically, companies can build a virtual copy of their factory and test out AGV deployments, different routes, different numbers of vehicles, all in the computer first. It drastically cuts down the risk and helps them fine-tune everything before they spend the money on the real thing. Improves efficiency right from the start.
That simulation part sounds like a huge help for planning. Less trial and error on the actual floor. And lastly, is this AGV thing still mostly for the giant car companies, or are we seeing smaller players, the suppliers, getting in on the act too?
It's definitely broadening out now, which is really significant.
Yeah, the big global OEMs were the first movers for sure. But now we're seeing a really clear rise in adoption among Tier 1 and Tier 2 suppliers. The companies that make the parts that go directly into the cars or the components for those parts. They're critical to the whole supply chain, right? Handling subassemblies, components, packaging. And they're under pressure too, needing to meet those tight, just-in-time delivery schedules from the OEMs and improve their own internal logistics. So AGVs are becoming essential tools for them as well, helping them get the same kinds of efficiency benefits the big guys saw first.
Right. So there you have it. AGVs are, well, they're undeniably reshaping how cars get made. It's driven by this constant push for automation, sure, but also by real-world labor pressures and, of course, by amazing leaps in the technology itself. But as we heard, it's balanced by those big initial costs and the headaches of integration. For you, the listener, it means the cars we drive are increasingly built through this complex, intelligent choreography of autonomous machines alongside skilled human workers. And it leads to a bigger thought, doesn't it? If AGVs are becoming so vital for precision and speed in automotive, well, how is this intense drive for automation going to transform other industries? Especially those relying on complex logistics, moving lots of materials around. Think about warehousing, e-commerce fulfillment, maybe even aerospace or electronics manufacturing. What's the ripple effect going to be across global supply chains in the very near future?
That's a really interesting question to chew on as this tech keeps evolving and spreading. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into automated guided vehicles. We hope you found it insightful. As always, stay curious and stay informed.